In the ancient temple of cosmic mysteries, where shadows danced with sacred flames and wisdom echoed through stone corridors worn smooth by centuries of seeking feet, Master Jennifer Sullivan sat in contemplative silence. The temple's highest chamber, with its star-mapped ceiling and walls of shimmering crystal, had witnessed countless revelations, but none quite like what was about to unfold. Before her knelt Christopher Martinez, a merchant whose fine silk robes couldn't hide the desperate trembling in his hands. He had traveled 40 days across treacherous lands, following whispered rumors of a temple where ultimate power was taught. "I seek the secret language of the universe," he declared, his voice carrying both determination and fear. "They say you can teach one how to command reality itself." Master Sullivan's eyes, deep as mountain pools, studied him with ancient knowing. A slight smile played at her lips as she poured tea into 2 jade cups, the liquid seeming to glow with an inner light. "Before I share this knowledge," she said, her voice gentle yet carrying the weight of epics, "you must understand its price. The universe's command language is not a tool to be acquired, but a transformation to be undergone. Once learned, it cannot be unlearned." She passed him the cup, its warmth spreading through his trembling fingers. "Your current life, its comfortable limitations, its familiar boundaries, its predictable disappointments, will die forever. Are you prepared for that death?" Christopher sipped the tea, its taste unlike anything he'd known, sweet yet bitter, familiar yet alien. "Surely you exaggerate, Master. I seek only to improve my fortunes, not to—" "You seek to command the universe," she interrupted, her voice suddenly sharp as mountain air. "Yet you cannot command what you see as separate from yourself. This teaching will destroy the illusion of that separation. Your identity as the commander will dissolve into that which you wish to command." She leaned forward, her presence filling the chamber like storm clouds. "This is your final warning, merchant. Continue, and your comfortable life of limitation ends forever. Leave now, and preserve the sweet ignorance of believing you are powerless." Christopher set down his cup, its contents now swirling with strange patterns. "I choose to continue," he whispered. Master Sullivan nodded, her form seeming to shift like smoke in firelight. "Then empty your cup completely," she instructed, "for you cannot fill what is already full of preconceptions. Your first lesson begins with this truth. The universe does not respond to wishes, hopes, or prayers. It responds only to commands." She gestured to the star patterns above. "But to command the universe, you must first learn why your current words repel the very abundance you seek. Are you ready to discover how deeply your own language has betrayed you?" Christopher looked up at the swirling celestial patterns, not yet understanding that his journey of transformation had already begun. For in the temple of cosmic mysteries, every warning was also an invitation, and every ending was merely a beginning in disguise. Chapter 1. The Merchant's Desperate Gamble. In the scorching vastness of the Crimson Desert, where wind-carved spires pierced the copper sky like nature's temples, spice trader Michael Rodriguez stumbled through his 3rd day without water. His once prosperous caravan, 16 camels laden with saffron and myrrh, had been taken by bandits, leaving him with nothing but the bitter taste of loss in his parched mouth. "Please," he whispered to the shimmering horizon, "send help. I beg you." His knees hit the burning sand as consciousness began to fade. A shadow fell across his face. Looking up through sand-crusted eyes, he beheld a figure both impossible and magnificent. A woman in robes of shifting midnight blue, standing perfectly still despite the howling wind. Her silver hair danced like starlight. "Your begging offends the desert." spoke Desert Oracle Amanda Walker, her voice carrying the timeless patience of shifting dunes. The universe does not respond to pleas. She knelt beside him, pressing a cool clay vessel to his lips. The water tasted of moonlight and ancient springs. "Watch," she commanded, raising her hand toward the horizon. "Sandstorm, seize." The wind died instantly, as if struck dumb. "Storm, rise." The tempest roared back to life. "Storm, dance." The swirling sands formed perfect spirals, spinning like cosmic pottery on nature's wheel. Michael gaped in wonder. "How?" "The universe," Amanda explained, helping him to his feet, "is not a beggar's court where the most pitiful plea wins favor. It is a cosmic dance of command and response." She pointed to his footprints in the sand. "Your words of desperation carved a path of lack. Each please deepened your desert of scarcity." She drew a circle in the sand with her staff. "Stand here. Now command the universe as if it were your most trusted servant, because it is." Michael cleared his throat. I request." "Command!" Her voice cracked like thunder. "Send me water!" His voice emerged stronger than intended. A small spring bubbled up through the sand. "Again," she instructed. "Command your true desire. Restore my fortune." The words erupted from his depths. Dark clouds materialized in the copper sky, raining not water but saffron, more than his lost caravan had carried. "The universe—" Amanda smiled, gathering golden threads of spice from the air. "Responds to those who remember their authority. Your poverty began when you forgot you were born to command, not beg." She pressed a small leather pouch into his hands. "Practice commanding small things first. A breeze, a flower's bloom, a bird's flight path. Build your authority gradually. But remember, your words create your reality. Choose them not from desperation's vocabulary, but from the lexicon of cosmic law." As Michael watched her fade into the desert haze, her final teaching echoed across the dunes. The universe never says please when commanding the stars to shine. Why should you? Practice. Begin with small, clear commands to the universe. Start with "I command," followed by simple manifestations you can believe without doubt. Command a butterfly to visit, a cloud to change shape, a plant to grow stronger. Build your authority through small victories before attempting larger commands. Remember, hesitation breeds resistance, while clear command creates instant response. Chapter 2. The Laughing Priestess. In the Valley of Sacred Waters, where ancient stone temples rose like fingers reaching for rain, a devastating drought had turned verdant fields to dust. Noble pilgrims traveled from distant lands, seeking the temple's legendary rain ceremonies, carrying precious offerings and grave expressions. What they found was Sarah Thompson, the most peculiar priestess ever to tend the Temple of Living Waters. While other holy people chanted solemn prayers, Sarah could be heard singing playful rhymes and giggling as she performed her rituals. "This is an outrage," declared a visiting dignitary, watching her skip around the temple's central fountain. "How dare she mock our sacred traditions with such frivolity?" But as Sarah danced, something extraordinary happened. She pointed at the empty fountain and commanded with childlike glee, "Water, play with me." The dry fountain suddenly bubbled to life. Looking skyward, she called out through her laughter, "Clouds, come dance! Rain, join our party!" The gathering nobles gasped as storm clouds materialized, swirling in playful patterns before releasing their precious bounty. "The universe," Sarah explained to the astonished crowd, "delights in joy, not desperation." Your solemn ceremonies are like serving funeral food at a wedding feast. She twirled in the falling rain. Reality responds to absolute certainty wrapped in pure delight. To demonstrate, she invited a young noble to try commanding rain through traditional, serious invocations. Despite his perfect ritual form, the clouds remained distant. Now, she instructed, command it like you're inviting your best friend to play. When he finally smiled and called out with genuine joy, the rain responded instantly. Your reverence is admirable, Sarah taught. But the universe isn't impressed by your suffering. It responds to the unshakable certainty that comes from knowing you're a beloved child of creation, not its fearful servant. She drew a diagram in the wet earth. Solemnity creates distance. Joy creates resonance. Command through delight. And reality itself becomes your playmate. The nobles departed transformed, having learned that commanding universal forces requires the certainty of a child at play, absolute in their authority, yet free from the burden of proof. Practice. Begin your commands with genuine joy. Start small. Command a flower to bloom while laughing. Call birds while dancing. Summon breezes through playful invitation. Let go of the idea that power requires severity. The universe responds most readily to those who command with light hearts and unshakable certainty. Remember, gravity of purpose doesn't require gravity of manner. Experiment with mixing joy into your commands. Wind, come play tag. Instead of wind, I summon thee. Notice how reality responds more readily to delight than desperation. Your authority comes not from being serious, but from being absolutely certain while remaining light of heart. Chapter 3. The Blacksmith's Impossible Order. In the mountain village of Iron Heart, where forge smoke mingled with morning mist, Master Blacksmith David Mitchell faced an impossible challenge. A mysterious merchant had ordered chains that could bind shadows, not metaphorically, but literally restrain darkness itself. Madness, David muttered, striking his anvil in frustration. Metal cannot exceed its nature. Iron is iron, steel is steel. Is it? Came a voice like wind chimes in twilight. Jessica Garcia emerged from the forge shadows, her silver-streaked hair adorned with metal trinkets that seemed to dance with inner light. The village knew her as a wise woman who spoke to metals as others spoke to children. Watch, she said, lifting a simple iron bar. Metal, remember your stubborn nature. The bar began to glow with celestial light, its surface rippling like stellar waves. All materials, Jessica taught, remember their origin in stellar forges. They've simply forgotten their true potential. She gestured to David's hammer. You've been speaking to what iron is. Speak instead to what it remembers being. David lifted a fresh ingot. Metal, remember. No, Jessica interrupted. Don't imitate my words. Command from your own authority. What do you see when you look past iron's current form? David closed his eyes, sensing deeper. The metal seemed to pulse with ancient memories of starfire, of cosmic dance, of infinite possibility. His eyes snapped open with sudden knowing. Awaken to your cosmic nature, he commanded. The iron bar transformed, becoming simultaneously solid and ethereal, perfect for binding both matter and shadow. The universe's first language. Jessica smiled. Is possibility. Everything you see exists as a frozen command. Iron was commanded to be iron, stone to be stone. But new commands can awaken old memories. She helped David forge the shadow chains, teaching him to speak to metal's potential rather than its present form. Each hammer strike became a reminder of infinite possibility rather than a shaping of limitations. Remember, she said as darkness gathered. Everything in existence holds memories of being something greater. Your commands don't force change. They remind materials of their true nature. To test his work, David hung the chains in darkness. They caught and held the shadows like solid things, proving that impossible orders require only impossible perspective. Practice. Before commanding any material, spend time sensing its memories. Hold a stone and feel its stellar past. Touch water and sense its cosmic origin. Then command not what things are, but what they remember being. Start small. Command a candle flame to dance in new patterns. Request metal to briefly recall its stellar fluidity. Build gradually toward awakening greater material memories. Remember, nothing in existence is truly limited. It has simply forgotten its original nature. Chapter 4. The Caravanseer's Secret. In the bustling crossroads city of Seven Winds, where trade routes wove like golden threads across ancient lands, innkeeper Daniel Adams ran the most chaos-plagued caravanserai in all the known worlds. Despite his meticulous care, water jugs would mysteriously crack, roof tiles would relocate themselves overnight, and stored goods would transform into entirely different merchandise. "Everything's falling apart," he would sigh to his guests. "Nothing ever goes right here," he'd mention to passing merchants. "Watch out for that loose step," he'd warn daily, though the step had been fixed 100 times. One evening, a mysterious traveler arrived as storms gathered. Melissa Carter wore robes embroidered with shifting symbols that seemed to rearrange themselves when no one was looking. As Daniel recited his usual litany of warnings and complaints, she raised her hand for silence. "Listen," she said, her voice carrying the weight of distant thunder. The inn fell quiet, and in that silence, Daniel heard his own words echoing back strangely. "Falling apart. Goes wrong. Watch out." "Your tongue," Melissa explained, "has been commanding chaos into existence. Each complaint is a seed of disorder, watered by your attention." She gestured to a wobbling table. "Watch, table, remain sturdy." The furniture instantly stabilized. "But those were just observations, not commands," Daniel protested. "The universe," she smiled, "doesn't recognize the difference. It hears all declarations as commands." She pointed to his perpetually problematic step. "How many times have you told that step's story of betrayal?" Understanding dawned like desert sunrise. Daniel turned to the step. "Remain reliable." The wood settled with an ancient sigh of relief. Through the night, Melissa taught him to hear his unconscious commands. Every worry voiced, every problem declared, every difficulty announced had been a mandate for more of the same. "Practice casual authority," she instructed. "Don't fight chaos. Simply remind each thing of its proper nature through gentle, confident commands." By morning, the inn had transformed. Daniel's new declarations, "This place runs smoothly. Everything works perfectly here. Welcome to the most reliable caravanserai in Seven Winds," had become living commands that reality rushed to fulfill. Practice. Monitor your casual speech for accidental commands. Replace "everything's going wrong" with "everything aligns perfectly." Transform "I'm worried about" into "I command harmony in." Notice how reality responds to your shifted declarations. Remember, the universe hears all statements as commands. Choose words that command what you desire, not what you fear. Start with small declarations about your immediate environment, building toward larger commands as you master the art of casual authority. Chapter 5. The Fisher's Silent Revolution. Along the whispering coast, where ancient waters held secrets deeper than time, Timothy Brooks cast his nets day after day, returning with emptier boats than any fisher in the village. Though his technique was flawless, the fish seemed to sense his approach, and scatter before his nets could fall. The waters mock me, he would think bitterly, his frustrated thoughts churning like storm-tossed waves. Another empty catch, his mind would declare before his boat even left shore. On the 100th day of meager catches, he noticed a peculiar sight, a small boat returning to shore laden with fish, guided by Rachel Phillips, the cave-dwelling hermit whom villagers called the Silent Sage. Her nets seemed to dance with the waves themselves, fish leaping willingly into their embrace. When Timothy approached to ask her secret, Rachel merely pressed a finger to her lips and gestured for him to join her next dawn. As they sailed out together, she stopped him before he could cast his nets. "Listen," she whispered, her first word in 20 years, they said. "Your thoughts command the seas before your voice ever speaks." She guided his hands to the water's surface. "Feel how your bitter expectations ripple outward, warning every creature of your approach. Your mind shouts so loudly, the fish flee from its discord." Timothy realized with stunning clarity how his internal dialogue had been commanding failure into existence every day. Rachel showed him how to still his mental waters first, creating an inner silence that matched the dawn's perfect calm. "Now," she breathed, "think only of harmony with the deep." As Timothy's thoughts shifted, fish began circling their boat curiously. "Command with your entire being, not just your voice." She demonstrated, casting her net with thoughts, intention, and motion united in silent harmony. The sea itself seemed to gather her catch for her. "The universe," she taught in hushed tones, "responds first to what you truly believe, not what you say. Your inner dialogue creates commands more powerful than any spoken word." Through the seasons that followed, Timothy learned to revolution his relationship with the sea through silent communion. His thoughts became clear as morning tide, his intentions pure as first light. The fish responded not to his nets but to his transformed inner nature. Practice. Before speaking any command, still your mental waters. Notice your background thoughts. Are they commanding what you desire or what you fear? Start with small, silent experiments. Project peaceful thoughts toward a wild bird before calling it. Calm your mind before commanding a breeze. Feel how reality responds differently when your internal and external commands align. Remember, the universe hears your thoughts as commands before your voice ever speaks. Master your inner dialogue, and the outer world will respond with abundance. Chapter 6. The Healer's Dangerous Gift. In the Valley of Whispered Prayers, where mountain herbs held ancient secrets, young healer Ashley Nelson faced her greatest challenge. A mysterious illness swept through the village, turning healthy villagers' skin to pale jade while they slept. "Please," she would whisper to her medicines, "help them heal." But her gentle requests seemed to make the affliction spread faster. When the 7th victim appeared, a weathered traveler arrived at her door. Stephen Hayes, known in distant lands as the keeper of life's gate, watched silently as Ashley tended to the sick. "You handle your herbs like fragile birds," he observed, "when they must be commanded like armies." "I dare not command life and death," Ashley replied. "The responsibility is too great." Stephen's eyes held ancient knowing. "Yet you already do. Every hesitation is a command for illness to strengthen. Every uncertain touch commands death to advance." He approached a jade-skinned child, placing his hand on the fevered brow. "Return to vibrant health," he commanded with such authority that the very air seemed to bend toward his words. The child's natural color began returning immediately. "The universe," he taught, "grants power only to those willing to bear its full weight. You cannot command health while fearing the responsibility of death." Through the night, Stephen showed Ashley how each healing act was a war between life and death, one that tolerates no uncertain commander. Her gentle requests had been surrendering authority to illness itself. "Accept your role," he instructed. "You stand at the gateway between worlds. Command with the full knowledge that your words shape the boundary between life and death." With trembling voice that grew stronger with each word, Ashley began commanding rather than asking. "Sickness, release your hold," she declared to a victim, watching jade pallor fade to healthy pink. "Vitality, reclaim your domain," she ordered, feeling life force surge in response. By dawn, the village was healed, but Ashley was forever changed, understanding finally that to command health requires embracing the profound responsibility of wielding life's power. "Remember," Stephen said as he departed, "hesitation kills more surely than any disease. Command with full acceptance of your authority, or do not command at all." Practice. Begin with small health commands. To order a minor ache to fade or a small cut to close. Feel the full weight of each command's responsibility. Notice how your healing power grows as you accept your authority over bodily conditions. Start with yourself before commanding health for others. Remember, the universe grants power equal to the responsibility you're willing to bear. Command with complete acceptance of your role as life's agent, or step away from the healer's path entirely. Chapter 7. The Scribe's Forbidden Scroll. In the sacred library of eternal records, where thoughts crystallized into reality through carefully chosen strokes of ink, young scribe Joshua Turner discovered an ancient truth that would forever change his understanding of written words. Joshua took pride in his precise calligraphy, meticulously copying texts while adding his own subtle improvements. "May prosperity increase" became "prosperity shall increase," and "health be with you" transformed to "health will manifest." One night, while transcribing blessing scrolls, he noticed golden light emanating from his modified phrases. Librarian Michelle Roberts emerged from the shadows, her eyes reflecting the supernatural glow. "You've been accidentally commanding reality into new patterns?" she said, gesturing to his parchments. "Written commands carry power that spoken words cannot match. They exist outside of time, executing their orders eternally." Joshua watched in amazement as his enhanced phrases pulsed with increasing intensity. "But I was only making them more definitive," he protested. "The universe," Michelle explained, "doesn't recognize the difference between transcription and transformation. Each stroke of your pen reshapes reality's underlying structure." She revealed a sealed chamber filled with dangerously glowing scrolls. These contained commands so powerful they had to be locked away, phrases that accidentally commanded civilizations to fall or mountains to move. Through the night, Michelle taught Joshua the sacred responsibility of written commands. Every shall and will created permanent ripples through time. Even seemingly simple improvements could spawn unintended consequences across generations. "Write this," she instructed, guiding his hand. Wisdom flows naturally. The characters shimmered, and Joshua felt knowledge streaming into his mind. "Now understand, those 3 words will affect readers forever, commanding their consciousness to expand whether they're ready or not." By dawn, Joshua had learned to recognize the weight of written power. His former pride in improving texts transformed into humble reverence for the permanent nature of recorded commands. "Remember," Michelle said as morning light filled the library, "what is written becomes eternal. Command through text only what you are willing to set in motion forever." Practice. Begin with small written commands in your personal journal. Write, "Peace surrounds me," and observe its lasting effects. Notice how written commands feel different from spoken ones. Start simple before attempting more complex written commands. Remember, Every written word is a permanent command that ripples through time. Write with full awareness of the eternal consequences you set in motion. Some commands are better left unwritten, existing only in the gentler realm of speech. Chapter 8. The Shepherd's Weather Mastery. High in the cloud-touched mountains, where storms were born and winds learned their songs, young shepherd Brian Campbell believed he could master the weather through sheer force of will. Each morning, he would raise his staff to the sky and shout commands at approaching storms, earning only thunder's laughter in response. "Clear skies, I command you!" he would bellow at dark clouds, his voice echoing off indifferent peaks. His flock huddled closer, sensing his frustration growing fierce as the storms themselves. On the harshest winter night, when biting winds drove his sheep toward a cliff's edge, Brian met the legendary Stephanie Lewis, known as the wind's dancing partner. While he fought against the gale, she swayed with it, her movements as fluid as the air itself. "You cannot command what you refuse to become," she called through the howling storm. "Nature obeys only its own." As Brian struggled to understand, Stephanie demonstrated not by speaking to the storm, but by joining it. Her arms became wind, her breath became mist, her movements matched the storm's rhythm until observer and observed merged into one swirling dance. "Feel the storm's intention," she guided. "It seeks balance, not battle. Match its motion before attempting mastery." Freezing and desperate, Brian surrendered his rigid stance. He felt the wind's currents as extensions of his own breath, the storm's power as his own wild heart. Only then did Stephanie reveal the deeper truth. Weather masters nothing, she taught. It allows everything. Your commands failed because you sought to dominate rather than dance. Through that endless night, Brian learned nature's secret language, not through words, but through becoming. When dawn finally broke, he could direct winds with a gesture, part clouds with a thought, all because he had stopped trying to command and learned instead to embody. "Remember," Stephanie said, as the last stars faded, "the greatest command is surrender to what you would master. Only by becoming weather can you guide it. Only by becoming nature can you speak its tongue. Practice. Begin with wind. Feel breeze on your skin not as something separate, but as an extension of your own essence. Start small. Direct, gentle air currents by becoming them first. Notice how natural forces respond differently when you approach as kin rather than commander. Remember, true mastery comes not from imposing your will, but from expanding your identity to include what you wish to guide. Command through communion, not control. Chapter 9. The Jeweler's Precision Problem. In the glittering district of the ancient city of Luminara, where gem cutters transformed raw stone into captured starlight, master jeweler Kevin Hall was known for his endless pursuit of perfection. Each day, he would discard dozens of nearly flawless gems for microscopic imperfections only he could see. "Not good enough," he would declare, casting aside diamonds that merchants would have fought over. His workshop floor glittered with rejected treasures, while his standards grew ever higher. One scorching afternoon, as Kevin prepared to shatter another imperfect ruby, a peculiar merchant named Tiffany Edwards appeared at his door. Without a word, she placed a rough crystal on his workbench, one so clouded and flawed that he nearly refused to touch it. "Command it to reveal its truth," she said, her eyes twinkling like cut sapphires. "I command only perfection," Kevin replied stiffly. Tiffany laughed, a sound like tinkling crystals. "Yet perfection commands you, prison guard of your own potential." She lifted a rejected diamond from his floor. Every command for flawlessness is a command against growth. Every demand for perfection is a denial of transformation. She held the clouded crystal to the light. "Reveal your essential nature," she commanded with quiet authority. The crystal began to glow from within, its flaws transforming into fascinating patterns that captured light in ways Kevin had never seen. "You've been commanding stones to match your ideals," she taught, instead of commanding them to express their highest truth. Perfection is not absence of flaws, it is the full expression of authentic nature. Through the night, Tiffany showed Kevin how each stone held its own perfect pattern waiting to emerge. His rigid commands had been forcing external standards onto their internal beauty. By dawn, Kevin's workbench displayed gems unlike any ever seen, not flawless, but radiantly true to their own nature. His commands had shifted from "be perfect" to "become your highest self." "Remember," Tiffany said as she departed, "the command for perfection creates only perfect discontent. Command instead for truth, and watch real beauty emerge." Practice. Begin with small objects you consider flawed. Rather than commanding them to match your ideal, command them to reveal their authentic nature. Notice how imperfections often hold unique beauty when viewed without judgment. Start with physical items before applying this wisdom to yourself and others. Remember, true mastery comes not from commanding perfection, but from commanding the fullest expression of inherent truth. Let go of rigid standards to discover the perfection that already exists within perceived flaws. Chapter 10. The Tax Collector's Reversal. In the wealthy port city of Aureolix, where commerce flowed like water through golden streets, tax collector Ryan Morris wielded authority with an iron grip. Each day, he would stride through the marketplace, his purple-trimmed robes striking fear into merchants' hearts as he commanded payment with harsh words and threats. "You will surrender what is due," he would declare, watching satisfaction as traders trembled before him. Yet despite his fearsome reputation, Ryan noticed that collections grew increasingly difficult as merchants found clever ways to hide their wealth. During the Great Harvest Festival, while pursuing a suspected smuggler, Ryan encountered the mysterious Heather Rodriguez in a shadowy alley. Once the city's most notorious thief, she now served as a respected mediator between merchants and officials. "You command fear well," she observed, "but fear commands resistance in return." She gestured to the empty market stalls around them. Vendors had closed early upon hearing his approach. "Authority requires force," Ryan replied firmly. Heather smiled knowingly. "Watch carefully." She approached a nervous spice merchant, her posture relaxed and open. "Your wisdom in trade brings prosperity to all," she declared. The merchant's tension visibly melted, and he eagerly shared his day's earnings. Through the evening, Heather taught Ryan the subtle art of commanding respect rather than fear. "Every harsh command creates an equal desire to resist," she explained. "But when you command by acknowledging others' worth, they naturally align with your authority." Ryan learned to transform "pay your taxes now" into "your honest contribution strengthens our city." Where he once commanded, "Show me your records," he began declaring, "Your diligence in recording honors your profession." To his amazement, collections increased as merchants began seeking him out rather than hiding. His commands had shifted from creating resistance to inspiring cooperation. "Remember," Heather said as they watched the sun set over prosperous market stalls, "true authority commands alignment through recognition, not submission through fear. The universe responds to respect the same way people do." Practice. Begin with your daily interactions. Notice how commands that acknowledge others' value create natural cooperation. Transform demanding statements into recognition-based declarations. Start small. Practice with simple requests before attempting larger authority situations. Remember, the command that honors what is naturally inspires what could be. Your authority grows stronger when it lifts others up rather than pressing them down. Chapter 11. The Architect's Living Buildings. In the ancient city of Petra, where buildings were carved from living rock, master architect Mark Sullivan believed structures were merely stone and wood arranged by human hands. Each morning, he would issue harsh commands to his workers, treating materials as dead things to be dominated into submission. "Bend to my will," he would shout at stubborn marble columns, earning only resistance and cracked stones in return. His magnificent designs often developed mysterious flaws, as if the buildings themselves rejected his forceful approach. During construction of the Grand Temple, when support beams inexplicably warped overnight, Mark encountered the enigmatic engineer Nicole Baker, known as the Whisperer of Walls. While he fought against the building's seeming defiance, she placed her hands on the stones with gentle reverence. "These pillars aren't listening because you've never learned their language," she observed, her fingers tracing the grain of a marble block. "Materials respond to intention, not force." Before Mark could object, Nicole demonstrated not by ordering the stone, but by communing with it. She closed her eyes, her breath synchronizing with the subtle vibration of the foundation stones. "Reveal your natural form," she whispered, and the warped beams gradually straightened themselves. "Every material has its own consciousness," she taught. "Stone remembers the mountain it came from. Wood recalls its forest songs. Metal dreams of its star-born origins. Command not their submission, but their awakening." Through the night, Nicole showed Mark how to feel the living essence within each building component. His commands shifted from demanding compliance to inviting collaboration. "Remember your mountain strength," to pillars. "Sing your forest wisdom," to wooden beams. By dawn, the temple had transformed. Stones fit together as if grown that way. Beams curved in graceful arcs, impossible through force alone. The entire structure hummed with subtle life, responding to touch like a content cat. "Remember," Nicole said as first light illuminated their living architecture, "buildings are not constructed, they are grown. Command not what they should be, but what they remember being." Practice. Begin with simple structures: a wall, a doorway, a shelf. Place your hands on the materials and feel their original essence. Start with small adjustments, commanding not through force but through awakening memory. Notice how materials respond differently when approached as living collaborators rather than dead resources. Remember, true architecture grows from partnership between builder and built. Your designs will manifest more powerfully when you command through communion with the consciousness of your materials. Chapter 12. The Diplomat's Impossible Peace. In the divided city of Concordia, where ancient feuds ran deeper than its foundational stones, royal diplomat Matthew Garcia faced an impossible task. Two noble houses, separated by a blood oath spanning 7 generations, were amassing armies that threatened to tear the city apart. Matthew had exhausted every traditional negotiation technique, commanding representatives from both houses to seize this conflict and make peace now. But his forceful declarations only hardened their resolve for war. On the eve of inevitable battle, a mysterious advisor named Amber Collins appeared in the meditation gardens. While Matthew practiced his stern peace declarations, she sat quietly weaving flowers into an intricate pattern. "You command what they should do," she observed, "but not what they could become." She handed him a flower where 2 different blooms had been woven to create something more beautiful than either alone. "Watch carefully," she said, approaching the guards of both houses. Instead of addressing their conflict, she spoke to something deeper. Your nobility illuminates the ancient wisdom of your bloodlines. The guards straightened, something shifting in their eyes as their highest nature was acknowledged. Through the night, Amber taught Matthew the art of commanding noble truths into awakening. Every soul contains a sleeping piece, she explained. Command not the ending of war, but the remembering of harmony. The next day, rather than demanding peace, Matthew began acknowledging the profound nobility and wisdom in both houses. Your combined greatness could forge a golden age, he declared. Your united wisdom would author legends. To his amazement, the representatives began speaking of their shared heritage, of ancient times when their houses had been allies. His commands had shifted from forcing external peace to awakening internal remembrance. When dawn broke, the armies had transformed into celebration parties, as both houses discovered a greater identity beyond their feud. They commanded themselves to remember who they truly were. Remember, Amber said as she watched noble houses unite in friendship. Peace cannot be commanded into existence, but wisdom can be commanded to awaken. The highest command reminds others of their highest truth. Practice. Begin with small conflicts in your life. Rather than commanding specific outcomes, practice acknowledging the highest nature of all involved. Transform, stop fighting, into recognition of noble qualities waiting to emerge. Start with minor disagreements before attempting deeper divisions. Remember, the command that awakens wisdom brings more lasting peace than the command that demands harmony. Your words have power to remind others of who they truly are beneath their conflicts. Chapter 13. The Artist's Rebellious Canvas. In the twilight city of Chromeria, where colors danced like living spirits through the air, painter Jason Phillips struggled before an empty canvas in his tower studio. Each attempt to command his visions into being resulted in lifeless images that mocked his artistic intentions. "Manifest my vision," he would declare to his paints, but the colors seemed to deliberately rebel, mixing into muddy hues that bore no resemblance to the celestial beauty he sought to capture. During the Festival of Living Art, when his latest masterpiece transformed overnight into abstract chaos, Jason encountered the enigmatic street performer Amy Martinez, known as the Dancer of Dreams. While he fought to control his wayward paintings, she moved like liquid starlight, leaving trails of spontaneous beauty in her wake. Your art resists because you command what is instead of what yearns to become, she observed, watching his colors swirl in defiance. Creation doesn't obey, it unfolds. Before Jason could protest, Amy demonstrated by approaching his rebellious canvas. Instead of imposing an image, she began a graceful dance, her movements speaking a different kind of command. "Reveal your hidden dreams," she whispered. And the paints began to move of their own accord. "Art is not servant but partner," she taught. "Colors remember the light they were born from. Forms recall their dance through infinity. Command not their submission, but their awakening into becoming." Through the night, Amy showed Jason how to dance with his creations rather than dominate them. His commands transformed from demanding specific outcomes to inviting emergence. "Dance your secret stories." To the colors. "Sing your forgotten songs." To the forms. By dawn, his studio had become a gallery of impossible beauty. Paintings that seemed to breathe and move, images that revealed new depths each time they were viewed. The art had become a living collaboration between artist and medium. "Remember," Amy said as morning light played through his living masterpieces, "true creation is not control but courtship. Command not what art should be, but what it dreams of becoming." Practice. Begin with simple creative acts, a doodle, a melody, a phrase. Instead of forcing specific outcomes, invite your medium to reveal its nature. Start with small experimental pieces before attempting larger works. Let each creation teach you its language. Notice how art responds differently when approached as a dance of becoming rather than an exercise in control. Remember, the greatest masterpieces emerge from partnership between artist and art. Your creativity will flourish when you command through invitation rather than imposition. Chapter 14. The Mathematician's Sacred Geometry. In the mountain sanctuary of Numeropolis, where ancient formulas danced in glowing symbols across temple walls, scholar Jeremy Anderson obsessed over cosmic patterns. Each day, he would command numbers to reveal their secrets through rigid calculations. Yet deeper meaning remained elusive. "Solve for truth," he would declare to his equations. But the numbers seemed to rearrange themselves playfully, revealing only superficial answers while hiding profound mysteries. During the Festival of Eternal Constants, when his carefully graphed star charts spontaneously transformed into spiraling fractals, Jeremy encountered temple mathematician Brittany Wright, known as the Pattern Whisperer. While he attempted to force mathematical order, she traced invisible geometries in the air with graceful movements. "Numbers aren't servants to be commanded," she observed, watching his calculations reshape themselves. "They're relationships waiting to be discovered." Before Jeremy could argue, Brittany demonstrated by approaching a wall of mysterious equations. Instead of attempting to solve them, she began connecting seemingly unrelated symbols. "Dance your Haydn harmonies," she whispered, and the numbers flowed into beautiful patterns he had never noticed. "Mathematics is the language of relationship," she taught. "Each number remembers its connection to infinity. Equations dream of their dance through eternity, command not their solutions, but their sacred partnerships." Through the night, Brittany showed Jeremy how to stop treating numbers as tools and start seeing them as living relationships. His commands shifted from demanding answers to inviting connection. "Reveal your cosmic bonds," to prime numbers. "Show your sacred symmetries," to geometric forms. By dawn, his study chamber had transformed into a temple of living mathematics, by equations that solved themselves in endless elegant variations, geometric patterns that revealed the breathing rhythm of the universe itself. The numbers had become a gateway to infinite understanding. "Remember," Brittany said as morning light played through crystalline formations of pure mathematics, "true understanding comes not from commanding answers, but from joining the eternal dance of relationship." Practice. Begin with simple number patterns: the spiral of the Fibonacci sequence, the harmony of pi, the poetry of prime numbers. Instead of trying to solve them, invite them to reveal their connections. Start with basic geometry before attempting higher dimensions. Let each calculation show you its place in the cosmic dance. Notice how mathematics responds differently when approached as a living language of relationship rather than a tool for mastery. Remember, the deepest truths emerge from partnership between mind and mystery. Your understanding will expand when you command through communion rather than computation. Chapter 15. The Entertainer's Crowd Control. In the twilight amphitheater of Emotara, where ancient dramas stirred souls to transformation, traveling performer Brandon Taylor faced his greatest challenge. The annual Festival of Hearts approached, where entertainers were tasked with guiding thousands through specific emotional journeys to cleanse their spiritual vessels. Brandon had mastered individual performances, but commanding large crowds into precise emotional states remained elusive. His attempts to force audience reactions often resulted in confused murmurs and restless shifting. During rehearsals, while struggling to evoke collective joy from a practice audience, he encountered the legendary storyteller Kimberly Thompson, known as the Mood Weaver. As he desperately tried different techniques, she sat quietly observing the subtle currents of group energy flowing through the amphitheater. "You command the surface," she noted, "but emotions flow from deeper wells." She demonstrated by approaching the restless crowd and speaking a single word that somehow carried the weight of ancient summers. "Remember." The audience collectively sighed, their faces softening with nostalgic warmth. "Crowds are not many, but one," she taught. "Like a great sea, moving in tides of feeling. Command not what they should feel, but awaken what already sleeps in their shared heart." Through the night, Kimberly revealed the sacred patterns of group consciousness. Brandon learned to sense the invisible threads connecting all present, to speak to their collective spirit rather than their individual minds. His commands transformed from pushing emotions to inviting awakening. "Rise, ancient joy," to spark celebration. "Flow, healing tears," to release grief. At the festival, Brandon guided thousands through a journey of the heart that left them forever transformed. The crowd moved as one being, laughing, weeping, and soaring together through peaks of transcendent wonder. "Remember," Kimberly said as dawn painted the amphitheater in gold, "the greatest performance commands not the audience, but the timeless emotions we all share. You are not creating feelings, but remembering them together." Practice. Begin with small groups of willing participants. Learn to sense the collective emotional current before attempting to guide it. Start with simple, universal feelings before navigating complex emotional landscapes. Notice how groups respond differently when approached as one being rather than many individuals. Remember, true mastery of crowd emotions comes not from forcing reactions, but from awakening what humanity's heart already knows. Your words have power to remind souls of their shared emotional heritage. Chapter 16. The Hunter's-Predator Protocol. In the emerald depths of the sacred forest, where shadows held ancient wisdom and beasts carried the memories of ages, Master Tracker Sean Rodriguez stalked his greatest challenge. For moons, a legendary white tiger had been terrorizing villages, yet resisted all attempts at capture or command. Sean was renowned for his ability to track any creature, but this tiger seemed to anticipate his every move. His traditional commands, sharp whistles, and firm gestures only made the great cat more elusive. During a moonless night, while following fresh tiger tracks, Sean encountered forest shaman Samantha Reed, who walked among predators as if they were kin. She sat calmly beside a sleeping wolf pack, her presence neither commanding nor submissive. "You speak to their bodies," she observed, "but miss their spirits." Before Sean could respond, she demonstrated by approaching a massive dire wolf. Instead of using gestures or calls, she shifted her entire being into a posture of pure intention. The wolf rose and mirrored her stance, both beings locked in silent communion. "Predators command through presence, not noise," she taught. "They speak the language of hunt and honor, territory and respect. To command them, you must first speak as they do, through the authority of your spirit." Through 3 nights, Samantha showed Sean how to shed his human patterns. He learned to project intention like an invisible scent, to move his energy like territory markers, to fill spaces with unspoken authority that even apex predators would recognize. When the white tiger finally appeared, Sean did not reach for weapons or commands. Instead, he met the great cat's gaze and spoke in the silent language of predators, pure, focused intention rippling through the air between them. The tiger recognized this ancient tongue, and for the first time, true communication became possible. "Remember," Samantha said as dawn painted stripes of light through the canopy, "true mastery of beasts comes not from commanding their bodies, but from speaking to their immortal spirits. Every animal carries the wisdom of its entire species. Honor this, and they will honor your authority." Practice. Begin with observing animals without attempting control. Learn to project different qualities of intention, curiosity, respect, authority, kinship. Start with gentle creatures before approaching predators. Notice how animals respond differently when you speak through presence rather than action. Practice holding your ground calmly while radiating clear intention. Remember, the most powerful commands need no sound or motion. They flow from the quiet authority of your aligned spirit. Chapter 17. The Sailor's Storm Dancer. In the twilight harbors of the Cerulean Isles, where waves whispered ancient secrets and storms held court with thunder gods, Captain Aaron Nelson commanded his legendary vessel through treacherous waters. While other sailors fled from tempests, Aaron sought to master them, believing the seas could be conquered through sheer force of will. "Calm these waters," he would bellow into gathering storms, his commands echoing across angry waves that seemed to mock his authority with ever higher swells. During the season of whispering typhoons, when his ship nearly shattered against hidden reefs, Aaron encountered the mysterious weather witch Christina Mitchell, who moved through squalls as if partnering in an elegant dance. While he fought against the wind's fury, she swayed with its rhythms, her movements somehow calming the very air around her. "The sea despises commanders," she observed, watching his crew struggle against the waves. "But she loves dance partners." Before Aaron could protest, Christina demonstrated by stepping onto the rain-slicked deck during a particularly violent surge. Instead of bracing against the ship's wild movement, she began flowing with it, her gestures becoming one with the storm's natural patterns. "Share your dance," she whispered to the tempest, and remarkably, the winds seemed to gentle, matching her rhythm as if recognizing a long-lost partner. Through the night, Christina taught Aaron the sacred choreography of storms. Each wave became a dance step, each gust a gesture in an ancient pattern. His commands transformed from shouted orders to invitations. "Lead me through your patterns to the wind. Show me your rhythm to the waves." By dawn, Aaron's ship glided through the heart of the typhoon as if guided by nature itself. The crew watched in awe as their captain moved like a conductor, each gesture harmonizing with the storm's own dance. "Remember," Christina said as morning light pierced the clouds, "the sea has been dancing since before the first ship dared her waters. True mastery comes not from commanding her steps, but from joining her eternal dance." Practice. Begin with gentle waters before attempting storms. Learn to feel the natural rhythm of waves and wind. Start by matching your movements to the sea's patterns rather than imposing your own. Notice how waters respond differently when approached as a dance partner rather than an obstacle. Practice flowing with resistance instead of fighting it. Remember, the most powerful commands are those that honor nature's own choreography. Your authority grows when you learn to dance with what you once sought to dominate. Chapter 18. The Librarian's Living Books. In the hallowed halls of the great library of Mystara, where ancient scrolls held the whispers of forgotten ages, head librarian Justin Walker discovered that true knowledge was far more alive than anyone suspected. While other scholars simply read texts, Justin had noticed certain scrolls seemed to pulse with their own heartbeat when touched by seekers ready to receive their wisdom. His careful cataloging system was disrupted one night when he found scrolls had mysteriously rearranged themselves, forming patterns that defied ordinary logic. Following the trail of displaced texts, he encountered the eccentric scroll keeper Laura Henderson, who sat surrounded by floating parchments that danced through the air like autumn leaves. "You organize dead letters," she observed, while gently coaxing a particularly ancient scroll to unfurl itself. "But true wisdom breathes," she demonstrated by placing her hand on a sealed text and whispering, "Awaken, Ancient One." The scroll's edges began to glow with soft golden light, its contents somehow shifting and responding to the reader's questions. "Knowledge isn't fixed," Laura taught, as manuscripts fluttered around them like paper birds. "Each text contains not just words, but the living essence of its wisdom. Command not the parchment, but the spirit of understanding within." Through the night, Laura revealed the secret languages of living books. Justin learned to sense which texts were ready to share their deeper mysteries, and which required careful awakening. His commands transformed from librarians' dictates to invitations of emergence. "Reveal your heart," to unlock hidden meanings. "Share your secrets," to illuminate obscure passages. By dawn, the library had become a garden of blooming wisdom, each text responding to sincere seekers with interactive teachings that transformed static knowledge into living experience. Scrolls now rearranged themselves to guide readers on personal journeys of understanding. "Remember," Laura said as morning light filtered through ancient windows, "true wisdom cannot be trapped in mere words. Each text is a doorway to living knowledge that commands its own awakening when touched by ready hearts." Practice. Begin with texts that resonate with your current understanding. Learn to sense which books call to you before attempting to awaken their deeper wisdom. Start with simple writings before approaching complex mystical texts. Notice how knowledge responds differently when approached as living wisdom rather than dead information. Practice gentle invitation rather than forceful demanding. Remember, the most powerful commands are those that honor the living nature of wisdom itself. Your role is not to control knowledge, but to midwife its awakening in yourself and others. Chapter 19. The Inventor's Mechanical Spirits. In the bronze-lit workshops of the ancient mechanists' valley, where gears whispered secrets of sacred geometry and tools held memories of their maker's hands, master inventor Robert Evans struggled with his most ambitious creation. His mechanical healing assistant, designed to aid village doctors, moved with precision but lacked the gentle touch of true healing. While other inventors commanded their devices through force and function, Robert sensed there was a deeper connection he was missing. His breakthrough came when master craftswoman Megan Stewart visited his workshop, her eyes lighting up at his array of intricate devices. "You build servants," she observed, running her fingers along a brass automaton, "but these want to be partners." Before Robert could protest, she approached his healing device and placed her hand upon its central gear. Instead of issuing commands, she hummed a soft tone that matched its natural resonance. The machine's movements suddenly became fluid, almost organic. "Metal remembers," she taught. "Each tool carries the spirit of its elements. The strength of iron, the flexibility of copper, the brilliance of brass. They don't need masters. They need collaborators." Through 7 nights, Megan showed Robert the sacred art of mechanical communion. He learned to sense the natural tendencies of materials, to align his intentions with their inherent properties rather than forcing his will upon them. His commands transformed from harsh instructions to invitations: "Share your strength," to steel components; "Dance with me," to delicate gears. When he finally approached his healing device again, Robert didn't try to program its movements. Instead, he asked it to express its own nature. To his amazement, the machine began moving with an almost living grace, its mechanical hands now gentle enough to bandage wounds, yet precise enough for the most delicate procedures. "Remember," Megan said as workshop candles cast dancing shadows, "every tool has two spirits, the one born in Earth's depths and the one shaped by its maker's dreams. True mastery comes from honoring both." Practice. Begin with simple tools before attempting complex machines. Learn to feel the natural properties of each material. Start by matching your rhythm to the tool's own resonance rather than imposing yours. Notice how devices respond differently when approached as partners rather than instruments. Practice asking rather than ordering. Remember, the most powerful commands are those that awaken the living spirit within seemingly dead matter. Your creations become most alive when you stop trying to control them and start dancing with their inherent nature. Chapter 20. The Judge's Truth Compulsion. In the marble halls of the ancient court of Viridian, where justice flowed like sacred waters and truth hung heavy as mountain stone, Chief Magistrate Christopher Allen presided with unwavering certainty. While other judges wielded authority through fear, Christopher sought absolute truth in every case, believing perfect justice required perfect honesty. Speak only truth. He would command at trials, his words carrying an almost supernatural weight that made witnesses' tongues heavy with enforced honesty. Yet as his power grew, so did the chaos in his city. During the Festival of Necessary Shadows, when his truth-compelling commands had torn apart 3 families and exposed a temple's protective secrets, Christopher encountered the mysterious justice keeper Rachel Campbell, who moved through the court like twilight itself, neither fully light nor dark. "Truth without mercy is like sun without shadow," she observed, watching another family crumble under his revelations. "Some lies are like the moss that holds mountains together." Before Christopher could object, Rachel demonstrated by bringing forth 2 feuding merchants. Instead of demanding absolute truth, she wove a gentle illusion that allowed both to save face while finding peace. "Small untruths can serve greater truths," she taught, as the merchants departed reconciled. "A father's exaggerated praise builds a child's real confidence. A wife's tactful silence preserves a healing marriage. Even the gods wear masks when pure truth would blind us." Through 7 trials, Rachel showed Christopher the delicate art of balanced justice. He learned that truth, like strong wine, must sometimes be diluted to be beneficial. His commands transformed from brutal exposures to skilled navigation. Reveal what heals, rather than expose all. Speak your heart's truth, rather than tell every secret. By the moon's turning, Christopher's court had become a place of both truth and wisdom. He learned to see the social fabric as a tapestry where some threads of illusion actually strengthened the whole. "Remember," Rachel said as evening shadows danced across the marble floors, "perfect truth serves justice only when tempered by perfect compassion. Some lies are sacred masks that protect deeper truths." Practice. Begin with small truths before seeking large ones. Learn to distinguish between harmful deceptions and helpful illusions. Start by examining your own necessary masks before compelling others to remove theirs. Notice how relationships respond differently when approached with wisdom rather than mere honesty. Practice discernment rather than exposure. Remember, the most powerful commands are those that serve both truth and life itself. Your authority grows most pure when it protects the delicate balance between revelation and respect. Chapter 21. The Alchemist's Transmutation Terror. In the shadowed laboratories beneath the Temple of Eternal Change, where reality's building blocks whispered their secrets to patient listeners, Master alchemist Michael Green sought the ultimate transformation. While others dabbled in turning lead to gold, Michael pursued the power to command matter itself, believing he could remain unchanged while transforming the world. His carefully ordered laboratory erupted in chaos one night, when a failed transmutation attempt caused his own flesh to briefly turn crystalline. In his panic, he encountered the legendary transformer Amanda Parker, who seemed to shift between solid and liquid forms as she moved. "You command matter to change?" she observed, her features rippling like quicksilver. "But resist your own transformation. The universe demands balance. The changer must become the changed." Before Michael could retreat, she took his hand and pressed it into a bowl of mercury, their fingers merging with the liquid metal. "Matter is not fixed," she taught, as their combined forms flowed like living metals. "Each element contains infinite potential, but unleashing it requires becoming one with its nature. To command gold from lead, you must know the journey between them in your own flesh." Through 7 transformations, Amanda guided Michael through the terror of transmutation. He learned that commanding matter required surrendering his own fixed form, experiencing each element's nature from within. His commands transformed from alchemists' formulas to shapeshifters' songs, "Flow with me" to liquids, "Crystallize together" to solids. By the final transformation, Michael's laboratory had become a dance of flowing forms, each experiment a partnership between changer and changed. He learned to transmute materials not through force, but through shared metamorphosis, his own body temporarily becoming the bridge between forms. "Remember," Amanda said as her body settled back into human shape, "true mastery comes not from commanding external change, but from willing internal transformation. The greatest alchemist is the one who becomes all things to understand them." Practice. Begin with simple transmutations before attempting complex changes. Learn to feel the fluid nature of your own form. Start by matching your energy to the material you wish to change rather than forcing transformation. Notice how elements respond differently when approached as teachers rather than subjects. Practice becoming before commanding. Remember, the most powerful transformations happen when you surrender your fixed identity and allow yourself to dance between forms. Your commands gain power when they arise from direct experience of each element's nature. Chapter 22. The Oracle's Prediction Prison. In the crystalline chambers of the Prophecy Temple, where time flowed like twisted ribbons and futures hung like delicate spiderwebs, Oracle Jennifer Morris sat surrounded by prediction scrolls that mapped 1,000 possible tomorrows. Unlike other seers who glimpsed fragments of fate, Jennifer had mastered commanding clear visions of any future she desired. But with each commanded prophecy, she felt reality's paths growing narrower, as if her very certainty was closing doors that once stood open. During a particularly troubled reading, she encountered the mysterious time walker Daniel Evans, who moved through the temple as if dancing between moments. "You cage tomorrow with your certainty," he observed, touching a prophecy scroll that instantly aged to dust. Each commanded vision becomes a prison of expectation. Before Jennifer could defend her gift, he drew her into a swirling temporal vortex where all possible futures existed simultaneously. "Time is not a single river," he taught, as they witnessed countless versions of the same moment unfold. "It's an ocean of possibility that resists being channeled into one stream. When you command a specific future into focus, you inadvertently begin closing all other paths." Through 7 prophecies, Daniel showed Jennifer the burden of commanded foresight. She learned that each precise vision she forced into being became a weight that reality struggled to bear, like a butterfly pinned while still alive. Her commands transformed from demanding specific outcomes to gentle inquiries. Show what may be, rather than reveal what will be. By the moon's completion, Jennifer's prophecy chamber had become a garden of possibilities rather than an archive of certainties. She learned to see the future as a dance of probabilities, each prediction offered as a humble suggestion rather than an unchangeable decree. "Remember," Daniel said as he faded between moments, "the most precious gift of foresight is not commanding what must be, but nurturing what could be. True prophecy serves possibility rather than certainty." Practice. Begin with small predictions before seeking grand destinies. Learn to hold multiple possible futures in mind simultaneously. Start by offering gentle questions to tomorrow rather than demanding answers. Notice how destiny flows more freely when approached with wonder rather than certainty. Practice suggesting rather than commanding. Remember, the most powerful prophecies are those that inspire rather than constrain. Your visions become most true when they illuminate paths without forcing travelers to walk them. Chapter 23. The Warrior's Pacifist Victory. In the war-torn Valley of Thousand Swords, where battle cries echoed through blood-stained hills and victory was measured in enemy corpses, Commander David Edwards led the feared Legion of the Iron Dawn. Unlike other warriors who glorified combat, David sought to end conflict swiftly, believing perfect victory required perfect domination. When his legion encountered an unstoppable nomad army triple their size, David discovered the mysterious peacemaster Sarah Young meditating in a field between the opposing forces, surrounded by weapons turned to flowering vines. "You command soldiers to fight," she observed as arrows transformed to butterflies mid-flight around her. "But have you commanded yourself to understand why battle exists?" Before David could defend his approach, Sarah guided him to a high cliff overlooking both armies. "See how they mirror each other," she taught, as sunset painted both forces in identical golden light. "Each side fights because they believe they must. Victory comes not from overpowering the other, but from transcending the illusion of separation." Through 7 encounters, Sarah showed David how to command peace rather than war. He learned that true victory required expanding rather than destroying the enemy's options. His commands transformed from battle cries to invitations. Join in prosperity rather than submit or perish. Using these principles, David approached the nomad army not with weapons but with wisdom. He commanded new possibilities into being: shared hunting grounds, combined harvest celebrations, intermarried families. The unstoppable army became invaluable allies, their combined strength protecting the valley far better than conflict ever could. "Remember," Sarah said as children from both peoples played together in the flowering battlefield, "the greatest victory is not defeating an enemy, but transforming them into family." Some battles are won by refusing to fight them. Practice. Begin with small conflicts before addressing larger ones. Learn to see the shared hopes beneath opposing positions. Start by commanding new possibilities rather than demanding submission. Notice how enemies respond differently when offered dignity rather than destruction. Practice expanding options rather than forcing choices. Remember, the most powerful commands are those that create victories for all sides. Your authority grows most pure when it serves unity rather than division. Chapter 24. The Merchant's Abundance Overflow. In the bustling port city of Thousand Lanterns, where spice-laden ships painted the harbor with exotic aromas and merchant houses rose like gilded mountains, Jessica King had mastered the art of commanding wealth. Unlike other traders who chase single profits, Jessica wove complex networks of abundance that seemed to multiply gold from thin air. But with each successful venture, she felt a growing hollow in her soul, as if prosperity itself was demanding something more. During a troubled night counting her endless coins, she encountered the mysterious prosperity teacher Stephen Adams, who walked barefoot through her counting house, leaving trails of blooming flowers in his wake. "You command wealth to gather," he noted, touching a coin that instantly sprouted into a fruit tree. "But wealth commands purpose in return." Before Jessica could protest, he guided her through the city's shadowed alleys, where her abundance had created unexpected consequences. "See how your success ripples outward," he taught, as they witnessed families who depended on her trade routes, artisans whose crafts flourished under her patronage, and entire communities shaped by her economic decisions. Each coin carries the weight of lives touched by its journey. Through 7 market days, Stephen showed Jessica the true nature of prosperity. She learned that wealth was not meant to pile up like stagnant water, but to flow like life-giving rivers through the world. Her commands transformed from accumulate and keep to circulate and serve. Using this wisdom, Jessica reimagined her merchant empire. She commanded prosperity not just for herself but for entire trade networks, establishing schools in poor districts, funding healing houses, creating opportunities for struggling craftspeople. Her wealth multiplied even faster when directed toward collective flourishing. "Remember," Stephen said as they watched sunset paint the harbor gold, "true abundance isn't measured by what you gather, but by how many lives bloom in your garden. The wealthiest person is the one who makes others rich in spirit." Practice. Begin with small acts of generous command before expanding to larger ventures. Learn to see wealth as a flow rather than a possession. Start by asking what your prosperity can nurture rather than what it can acquire. Notice how abundance multiplies when directed toward collective benefit. Practice commanding opportunities for others' growth. Remember, the most powerful wealth is that which enriches the world. Your prosperity reaches its peak when it becomes a fountain rather than a fortress. Chapter 25. The Philosopher's Reality Revision. In the floating gardens of the Cloud Temple, where reality bent like morning mist and truth shifted like shadows at twilight, philosopher Timothy Carter spent his days crafting perfect syllogisms that explained existence's underlying laws. Unlike other thinkers who pondered in isolation, Timothy commanded reality itself to reveal its secrets through precisely structured logic. But with each ironclad conclusion, he felt the universe growing smaller, as if his certainties were slowly suffocating mystery itself. During a particularly troubled contemplation, he encountered the reality sculptor Melissa Hall, who walked through his garden leaving footprints that somehow existed both above and below the ground simultaneously. "Your commands chain truth to the ground," she observed, touching one of his carved stone theorems, which instantly transformed into a flock of questioning birds. "Reality prefers to dance." Before Timothy could defend his logical structures, she shattered his carefully constructed worldview with a simple gesture that made the sun rise in the west. "See how readily the universe disobeys its own rules?" she taught, as they watched flowers grow downward into the sky and rain fall upward from the earth. "Truth is not a cage to be commanded, but a wild bird that nests wherever it pleases." Through 7 paradoxical days, Melissa showed Timothy how reality responded to imagination more than logic. His solid philosophical foundations crumbled as he learned that certainty was reality's least favorite food. His commands transformed from "reveal the absolute" to "show me the impossible." Using this wisdom, Timothy reimagined his entire approach. Instead of commanding reality to fit his theories, he invited impossibilities to reshape his understanding. His philosophical gardens became laboratories of wonder, where contradictions bloomed like flowers and paradoxes danced like butterflies. "Remember," Melissa said as she stepped sideways through tomorrow, "the deepest truth is that nothing is absolutely true. The wisest philosopher is the one who commands their certainties to bow before mystery." Practice. Begin with small uncertainties before challenging larger beliefs. Learn to hold contradictory ideas simultaneously without trying to resolve them. Start by commanding your mind to welcome impossibilities rather than explain them away. Notice how reality expands when approached with wonder rather than certainty. Practice asking questions that have no answers. Remember, the most powerful understanding comes from surrendering the need to understand. Your wisdom grows most profound when it bows to mystery rather than trying to command it. Chapter 26. The Musician's Harmonic Healing. In the singing caves of the eastern mountains, where stalactites dripped musical notes and underground streams hummed forgotten melodies, the gifted musician Joshua Wright crafted songs that could ease troubled minds. Unlike other musicians who played for entertainment, Joshua sought to understand the deepest harmonies that held existence together. During a performance where his music caused chronic pain to vanish from listeners' bodies, Joshua encountered the mysterious sound healer Ashley Rogers, who walked through the caves trailing visible waves of resonance that made reality itself vibrate in response. "You command healing notes," she observed, as her footsteps created expanding rings of harmonious light. "But have you heard the discord that makes healing necessary?" Before Joshua could respond, she pressed her palm against the cave wall, amplifying the planet's underlying song. The sound nearly drove Joshua mad, a cacophony of every disharmony in existence. He heard children crying continents away, felt the grinding pain of diseased bodies, sensed the jarring notes of lies being told and promises being broken across the world. Perfect pitch means perfect awareness, Ashley taught, showing him how to endure the overwhelming symphony of suffering. To truly heal through music, you must first bear witness to what needs healing. Through 7 octaves of training, Ashley revealed how the universe's pain and beauty were inseparable parts of one grand composition. Joshua learned that every healing song must first acknowledge the wound it seeks to mend. His commands transformed from "play what soothes" to "hold both harmony and discord." Using this wisdom, Joshua developed a new way of healing through sound. He created music that didn't just mask pain but transformed it, weaving dissonance and harmony together until even suffering became part of a larger, beautiful whole. His songs didn't simply soothe, they helped people integrate their broken parts into a more complete symphony. "Remember," Ashley said, as their combined music caused new crystals to grow in impossible shapes, "the greatest healer is one who can hold space for both the screech and the song." Some wounds need to be heard before they can be healed. Practice. Begin with simple songs before attempting deeper healing work. Learn to listen for the discord within harmony. Start by commanding music to reveal truth rather than just provide comfort. Notice how healing happens when pain is acknowledged rather than only soothed. Practice holding space for the full spectrum of sound. Remember, the most powerful healing comes from embracing both darkness and light. Your music reaches its highest purpose when it helps others integrate their shadows rather than trying to banish them. Chapter 27. The Gardener's Accelerated Growth. In the Valley of Eternal Spring, where seasons danced in harmonious cycles and every plant knew its appointed time, Master Gardener Brian Baker tended the sacred groves that fed the temple city. Unlike other cultivators who followed nature's rhythm, Brian had discovered how to command plants to mature in mere days rather than months. His accelerated gardens burst with impossible abundance. Trees bearing fruit in a week, healing herbs reaching potency overnight, grains ripening between sunrises. But with each forced harvest, he noticed troubling signs: leaves turning brittle too soon, roots growing shallow, fruits lacking the deep sweetness that time alone could grant. During a night of restless dreams about withering plants, he encountered the mysterious nature commander, Michel Lopez, who walked through his gardens, leaving trails of wildflowers that aged through entire life cycles with each step. "You command growth without honoring growth's wisdom," she observed, touching a rapidly sprouting vine that instantly grew, bore fruit, withered, and died. Speed is not the same as flourishing. Before Brian could defend his methods, she showed him the hidden costs of his haste. Through 7 cycles of the moon compressed into a single night, Michel revealed how his accelerated plants were disrupting ancient patterns. Soil became exhausted too quickly. Beneficial insects couldn't complete their vital roles, and the very essence of the plants grew thin and fragile from racing through their natural stages. Life knows its proper pace, she taught, as they watched a single seed take root in real time, its slow unfurling more miraculous than any forced growth. True abundance comes from dancing with time, not trying to outrun it. Brian learned that commanding rapid growth wasn't the same as commanding vibrant life. His gardens might feed more people quickly, but they were creating a hidden hunger in the earth itself. His commands transformed from "grow now" to "grow in wisdom." Using this understanding, Brian developed a new way of cultivation that balanced speed with sustainability. He learned to accelerate growth only when the plants themselves were ready, to listen for the whispered timing of natural cycles, and to let some things take their appointed time. "Remember," Michel said as dawn painted the valley in gentle light, "the most powerful growth is that which strengthens the whole web of life. Sometimes the greatest command is simply, be patient." Practice. Begin with small gardens before attempting larger transformations. Learn to feel the natural timing of things. Start by commanding harmony with cycles rather than dominion over them. Notice how rushing creates subtle forms of lack. Practice balancing speed with sustainability. Remember, the most enduring abundance comes from respecting life's rhythms. Your garden reaches its highest potential when you command in partnership with time rather than in defiance of it. Chapter 28. The Astronomer's Stellar Summons. In the crystal observatory atop Mount Celestia, where the barrier between Earth and stars grew thin as gossamer, astronomer Kevin Collins charted the dance of distant worlds through lenses of pure diamond. Unlike other star watchers who merely observed the heavens, Kevin sought to understand the cosmic rhythms that conducted the universe's grand symphony. His breakthrough came when he discovered he could command stars to reveal their secrets by aligning his thoughts with their ancient patterns. But his early attempts to direct celestial forces left him drained and disoriented, as if he'd tried to redirect an ocean with a teacup. During a rare alignment of 7 celestial bodies, he encountered the mysterious stellar master Stephanie Hill, who seemed to flicker in and out of existence with each stellar pulse. "You command with earthly time," she observed, as constellation patterns swirled around her like living light. But stars dance to deeper rhythms. Before Kevin could respond, she expanded his consciousness into the galaxy itself. The experience nearly shattered his sanity. He felt the grinding of cosmic gears that turned over millennia, witnessed the birth and death of stars as if they were heartbeats, experienced the slow waltz of solar systems that made earthly centuries seem like mere moments. To command stellar forces, Stephanie taught, as they rode waves of light between worlds, you must first learn to think in galactic time. Through 7 cosmic cycles, she showed him how the universe operated on layers of synchronized rhythm, from the quantum flutter of subatomic particles to the stately procession of galaxies. Kevin learned that his human perception of time was like trying to conduct an eternal orchestra while only hearing a single note. His commands transformed from "move now" to "flow with the cosmic dance." Using this wisdom, he developed a new way of working with celestial forces. Rather than trying to bend stars to his will, he learned to align his intentions with their natural movements, to weave his commands into the existing patterns of cosmic choreography. "Remember," Stephanie said as her form began dissolving into starlight, "the greatest astronomer is one who realizes they too are made of stars, dancing to the same eternal rhythm." Practice. Begin by expanding your sense of time beyond human scales. Learn to feel the slower pulses of celestial cycles. Start by commanding your consciousness to align with natural cosmic rhythms rather than trying to impose your pace. Notice how universal forces respond when approached with patience rather than urgency. Practice thinking in terms of stellar timeframes. Remember, the most powerful commands come from moving in harmony with cosmic flows. Your mastery grows most profound when you learn to dance with the stars, rather than trying to direct their ancient paths. Chapter 29. The Memory Keeper's Selective Erasure. In the vault of collective memory, where clay tablets held the stories of 10,000 years and whispered echoes of ancient voices filled the air, memory keeper Ryan Phillips guarded humanity's accumulated wisdom. Unlike other historians who simply preserved the past, Ryan had discovered he could command memories themselves, reshaping how entire communities remembered their shared history. His gift first manifested when he erased the memory of a devastating plague from the archives, only to find the townspeople could no longer recall the tragedy or the crucial lessons it had taught them about medicine and unity. During the Festival of Remembrance, where citizens gathered to honor their ancestors, he encountered the mysterious mind sculptor Heather Scott, who walked through crowds, touching temples and leaving people either weeping with recovered memories or sighing in relief as painful ones dissolved. "You command forgetting," she observed, as ripples of altered memories spread through the gathered crowd. "But have you considered what happens to a tapestry when you remove certain threads?" Before Ryan could defend his methods, she showed him the hidden consequences of his work. Through 7 generations of memories compressed into a single moment, Heather revealed how selective forgetting created holes in the collective consciousness. Communities that forgot their hardships became weak. Those who lost memories of conflict lost the wisdom to maintain peace. And those who remembered only triumphs grew arrogant and careless. "Memory is not meant to be comfortable," she taught, as they witnessed how altered histories subtly reshaped the present. "Truth needs both light and shadow to be whole." Ryan learned that commanding memories wasn't about erasing pain, but helping people carry it more wisely. His commands transformed from "forget the hurt" to "remember with understanding." Using this wisdom, he developed a new approach to memory keeping. Rather than removing difficult memories, he learned to help communities contextualize them, weaving past tragedies into tapestries of greater meaning and growth. "Remember," Heather said, as the festival crowds dispersed, still buzzing with newly awakened memories, "the most powerful healing comes not from forgetting, but from learning to hold both joy and sorrow in the same gentle embrace." Practice. Begin with personal memories before attempting to work with collective ones. Learn to feel how memories connect and influence each other. Start by commanding greater understanding rather than simple forgetting. Notice how wisdom often grows from difficulty. Practice holding space for the full spectrum of human experience. Remember, the most valuable histories are those that preserve both triumph and tragedy. Your greatest service comes from helping others find meaning in their memories rather than escape from them. Chapter 30. The Master's Final Command. In the Temple of Infinite Questions, where reality's deepest mysteries swirled like incense through chambers of polished obsidian, legendary teacher Mark Turner faced his most challenging student. Unlike other seekers who came for power or wisdom, Tiffany Johnson demanded something far more dangerous: the command to force the universe to explain itself. "I've mastered every other command," she declared, her voice echoing through the sacred halls. "Now I want the ultimate truth. The cosmos must reveal why it exists, why we exist, why anything exists at all." Her words sent tremors through the temple's foundations, as if reality itself shuddered at her audacity. Mark, who had taught thousands to command various aspects of existence, felt an ancient warning stir in his bones. He led Tiffany to the Chamber of Paradox, where questions and answers danced in endless loops, like smoke caught in mirrors. "Watch carefully," he instructed, commanding a single grain of sand to reveal its complete nature. The grain expanded into infinite fractals, each containing universes within universes, causing Tiffany to stagger back as overwhelming complexity threatened to break her mind. "That was one grain," Mark observed, letting the vision collapse. "Now imagine commanding all of existence to explain itself." The answer would destroy the questioner, not because it's forbidden, but because finite vessels cannot contain infinite truth. Through 7 demonstrations, he showed her how every attempt to fully explain existence only created deeper mysteries. A flower's beauty spawned questions about aesthetics. A child's laugh led to puzzles of consciousness. Even simple causality spiraled into infinite regression. The universe's greatest secret, he taught, as reality rippled around them, is that complete explanation would eliminate the very mystery that makes existence magical. Your desire for ultimate answers is actually a desire for ultimate death, the end of wonder, growth, and discovery. Tiffany learned that commanding cosmic explanation wasn't about receiving answers, but about learning to dance with mystery itself. Her command transformed from "explain everything" to "reveal what I'm ready to understand." Using this wisdom, she developed a new relationship with uncertainty. Rather than trying to force reality's hand, she learned to command her own awareness to expand gradually, allowing each revelation to unfold in its proper time. "Remember," Mark said as the temple's mysteries swirled around them, "the most powerful command is sometimes simply, 'Let me wonder.'" Practice. Begin with small mysteries before attempting cosmic ones. Learn to feel comfortable with not knowing everything. Start by commanding greater capacity for wonder rather than demanding complete explanation. Notice how answers often lead to more beautiful questions. Practice expanding your ability to hold paradox. Remember, the most profound wisdom comes not from eliminating mystery, but from learning to dance with it. Your greatest enlightenment arrives when you command yourself to embrace the endless adventure of discovery rather than seeking its end. The Council's Final Truth. In the infinite chamber between all worlds, where reality's fabric grew thin as morning mist, the Council of Command Masters gathered in their eternal circle. Unlike other sacred gatherings that centered around a single teacher, here 7 masters represented the fundamental forces of existence itself. Jennifer Sullivan, Keeper of Beginnings, spoke first. Her voice rippled through dimensions as she addressed you directly. "Seeker, you who have journeyed through 30 teachings of command, prepare yourself for the final revelation." Christopher Hayes, Master of Paradox, continued. You believed you were learning to command the universe. His form shifted between solid and shadow as he spoke. But what if the universe was teaching you to command yourself? Rachel Anderson, weaver of cycles, gestured to create a spiral of living light. Every command you mastered was a thread, she explained, weaving you back to a truth you had forgotten. Through 7 veils of reality, the council revealed how each lesson of command had actually been dissolving the illusion of separation. The merchant's abundance, the healer's touch, the warrior's peace, all were mirrors reflecting your own infinite nature back to you. You cannot truly command what you believe is separate from yourself, taught Timothy Martinez, knower of unity. The secret was never in the words of power, but in remembering you are the power that speaks the words. Michelle Phillips, guardian of mystery, showed how even the greatest commands were simply ways of allowing your true nature to express itself. You didn't learn to control reality, she revealed. You remembered you are reality learning to know itself. Brandon Turner, keeper of wisdom, demonstrated how every frustrated command had failed because it came from a place of perceived separation. Every successful one had worked because it aligned with your natural authority as an expression of existence itself. The ultimate command, concluded Sarah Wright, Master of Truth, is to remember what you truly are. Not a separate self trying to control an external universe, but the universe itself, playing at being human, temporarily believing in limitation. Practice. Begin by sensing the artificiality of separation. Feel how your breath is one with the air, your thoughts one with consciousness, your being one with existence. Start by commanding yourself to remember your true nature. Notice how reality responds differently when approached from unity rather than separation. Practice seeing through the illusion of the separate self. Remember, you are not learning to command the universe. You are the universe remembering how to command itself through the unique expression that you are. Your greatest power comes not from controlling reality, but from being reality in conscious, joyful expression. And with that final truth, the council fades, leaving you alone with the infinite self you've always been, playing this beautiful game of remembering.